Ready. Hey, everybody. I wanted to tell you a little story, and let's pretend that this is kind of like a game show where we have to decide what would you do, and you tell us your answer. Hi, before I start, I'm Ricky Heller from rickyheller.com, and I help women on restricted diets learn to love their food so they can stick with it, lose their symptoms, and really just get back to living their best lives. So today I wanted to share with you this story, and it's around this happened to one of my clients, and I wanted to see how would you handle this situation. So she was very excited. She's getting back to living sort of like normal life after COVID. Now we have all of these things opening up. She's in the US. I'm in Canada, where we're not doing that yet, but she's in the US. And so lots of things are opening up again, and it's very exciting. And so she was invited to a street party where she lives, where everybody was going to get together in the middle of the street, and it was going to be kind of like a potluck, and everyone was going to bring a different dish. And, the people would mingle and chat and eat and drink, and it would be this amazing time. But she was totally stressed out about it because of course, she's on a restricted diet, and it meant that she was going to be faced with all of these foods that she hasn't even had to really concern herself with for so long because she's been mostly at home. So she was really worried about it. We were speaking the week before, and it was going to happen that weekend. And she was really worried about how she was going to handle it. So I emailed her over the weekend to see what happened. And I had a few words of encouragement, and I'll tell you what I said in a moment. And then we met up on the following week. We had an appointment, and she told me what had happened. So, what would you have done if you knew that you had a special diet and it was going to be so tempting with all these foods, and you were worried that perhaps you were going to give in and eat some of them? So, what ended up happening was she decided not to go. She said, you know what? These things happen regularly, and I felt like I wasn't entirely sure that I would be able to continue with my healthy eating. And when I asked myself, is it worth it to me? I want to be sure that I can stay compliant with my diet. Is it worth it to me to spend a few hours out there feeling stressed and not eating what I want, or feeling like I have to, force myself not to eat it? No, I just decided to stay home. And the upshot was, she said she felt relief. She was relieved. As soon as she made that decision, she felt relief. And so I had emailed her and said, I just want you to know, and this is so true for all of us, of course, but I had said, I want you to know that, of course, you have the choice whether you eat or not. I didn't say whether you go or not, but I did remind her that it is always her choice. And so the choice she made was just not to go. And in the end, I felt that was the right choice for her. She has lots of social things going on. She's meeting with lots of friends, and this one wasn't something that she felt compelled to do. Now, for most of us, we would feel like, or let me say, for most of the people I talk to, we would feel like we have to go because we were invited and it's the polite thing to do. And then we would struggle internally around whether or not to eat those foods. And I think this story is a perfect illustration of how the concept of self love can be applied to our diet. So we hear about self love all the time these days. Any site that has even the slightest psychological bent, or if you talk about mindset, or if you talk about positive thinking, all these things, self development, we hear the concept of self love. And for most of us, we think of things like buying yourself gifts, or taking a bubble bath, or even if you think of meditation. But I think my client demonstrated a perfect example of self love in that situation, because she stopped to think about it, and she asked herself, what is the thing that I can do that is going to be the best for me and my goals and my health? And that was simply saying no to the invitation. And I think that's one thing that we as women tend to do not even close to enough. We do not say no to things that are not good for us and that perhaps would serve others, but don't in any real way serve us. Now, I don't think that was selfish. This was a party with a whole street full of people. It wasn't going to make or break the party if she went or didn't go. Of course, she wouldn't get to talk to her neighbors, but she can talk to them one on one. They all live on the same street. And she made a decision based on what was going to be best for her health at this moment. So if you put your health first, that is not a move to put someone else down. That isn't something that you're actively doing against anyone else. And I think that's something we need to remember, that when we do something that serves us, it isn't necessarily a selfish thing to do, because in most cases, what that's going to do is provide us with the energy. In her case, it gave her the mental bandwidth, and it gave her the sense of accomplishment and the health. It prevented her from having symptoms that were going to debilitate her later. So it gave her all the energy that she would need to then go and do positive things for and with other people. So you need to assess whether what you're doing in the way of helping yourself is it harming someone else, or is it simply saying no in a way that isn't harmful to someone else but is going to support your own health. And I think that's where most of us get stuck. So next time you're faced with a situation where you have to decide, do I do something simply because it's expected of me, or simply because somebody else wants me to? Ask yourself, is this what is going to support my best health and help me make the choices that I want to make in terms of healthy eating? Now, in a different situation, maybe 6 months from now, she'd be able to go to that party and not feel swayed by the food there. She's at the beginning of her journey, so it still feels hard to be tempted and not eat. But I can tell you, as somebody who's been doing this for 20 years, you will get to the point where it's easy, where there's no thought involved, where you go and you socialize and you have a great time and you eat the things that are okay to eat, and you don't even think about the other things. So when you get to that point, you can say yes to all the invitations and it doesn't matter to you one way or the other what they're serving. At this point, I feel she made the choice that would be best for her. So I hope that's helpful, something to think about next time you're faced with those kinds of choices. If this is something that resonates with you, I hope you will sign up for my weekly emails at rickiheller.com/subscribe. I send out little articles, links to videos, recipes that support your healthy eating every single week on Sunday mornings, and I would love to see you there. So at rickiheller.com/subscribe, and you will get on the list. All right, everybody, let me know what you think. As always, please do leave comments here below and let me know, or if you have any questions, and I will get back to you then. All right, have a great day. See you again soon.